Bend over to the front. Touch your toes, and low, get, whoa, no, that's not how it goes. Bend over to the front, touch your toes, bend that, here, get low, get low. I really suck at like censoring myself, especially in songs, because I prefer the uncensored version of songs. And so for me to sing this without like having to censor, I would have to be bend over to the front, touch your toes, get low, get low. Hey, you know what's really bad for my brand? Not watching a lot of TikToks. Let me explain. Welcome back to the Distract Me Please podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Silva, and today I am here by myself without an AI robot having to explain where I was because I was literally, guys, I need to have a listen and we don't judge moment. We listen and we do not judge. We listen and we don't judge. I'll make, what is it? I, I'll take my whiskey neat, my coffee black, and my bed at 3. I'm too sweet for me. Yeah, I'm too sweet for myself. Ha! Bend over to the front, touch your toes. Get low, get low. What is this? My cousins, I cannot be in a cousin group chat with them. They do too much. They're constantly doing too much. What do you mean? Ugh. Anyways, guys, so let me explain. One, we listen and we don't judge. I was just a sad, depressed girl. It was a lot. There was a lot happening in life. And I felt like, one, I didn't want to leave people hanging without a podcast episode. But two, I did not have the energy or strength to record a new podcast episode. Like, I really just needed to be in bed and sleep life away for some time. And that's the only way I could put it. Okay. But like, you have to get up, you have to dust yourself off, and you have to keep moving. So I gave myself that time. And now we're back a day later because it's Wednesday and it's not Tuesday. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm giving this podcast to y'all on Wednesday, and this is going to be the only podcast episode this week because I'm waiting to find out news on Friday. But I'm also going to the opening day of the rodeo tomorrow. I love you. Tomorrow is a whole new day. So here's why not being on TikTok is bad for my brand, or not watching a lot of TikToks is bad for my brand. My podcast episodes that do the best are the podcast episodes where I'm, como se dice, titling it after trendy TikTok trends. Those are the ones that always do the best. Those are the ones that y'all love and enjoy the most. Those are the ones that have higher watch time, more people clicking in, more people commenting on it. Like, those are just the ones that do so good for me. And because I've been in such a low mood, I don't want to be on TikTok. I don't like scrolling through TikTok because when I'm in like a low state of mind, it's typically because, so I'm 25. If you didn't know, now you know, I'm 25. If you're younger than 25 and you're like, she's 25, I'm sorry for that. I did not have a choice in when I was born. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have been born at all. But that's just me though. But as I was saying, I'm 25. So right now at this age in my quarter life crisis, I panic about, like, I feel like I'm not that far in life. I'm not in a position where I want to be in life. Like at 25, it's not like I was like, oh my God, I want to be a wife and have kids and be married. Let's get married. Heath and Mariah's wedding, we're coming back to that. But to me, I feel like I should have been farther in life. I graduated college later than I would have wanted to. I needed to. I still got that degree though, but she did it. Took longer than it needed to. It's taken me longer than I thought it would to get a job. Every single time that I've ever been hired for any job, I've been hired day one. I mean, I'm typically getting hired, turned in my resume, got the interview the following day, got hired on the interview. That is typically how I'm used to getting my jobs. But currently with the job market, with how many applications get turned into places, these hiring processes are taking so long. It's a lot of ghosting, it's a lot of waiting, it's a lot of patience. And people have said that, but man, oh man, did I not expect it to be like this. I am going to do something that I typically never do. I'm going to remember to link a YouTube video that I saw in the description of the show notes, because if you're also job hunting, a new grad out of college or anything, I'm going to share this because this has changed the way that I've job searched and I've truly seen actual results. I mean, I've heard all the tips, I've tried all the tips. Change your resume for every job description, done that because, typically they're using AI systems. So they're like, you want to hit all the keywords, or if they're not using AI, they're using computer systems to go through resumes and really look for those keywords. They have computer checking your bare minimum. So they're like, change your resume for every job description. Send follow-up emails, send an email saying like, hey, haven't heard from you, this and that, blah, 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 blah. That is really good advice, but I think it's advice that worked better when job searching hasn't become the way it has. This video breaks down why job hunting, like how we got here when it comes to job hunting, how we got the like huge influxes of um applications, long waiting periods to hear back from jobs, a lot of rejection notices. And a lot of it is like people don't understand what they're hiring for, or like people just quickly use ChatGPT to crank out a job description, because typically, if not all of them are like this, but there's also a lot of ghost postings. So, like, not talking about a ghost posting, but a lot of people are kind of understaffed, whether that's a growing business or a dying business, and they don't have a hiring manager understanding every single job. I don't know if hiring managers actually ever understood every single job, but it's using a lot of AI in the job process. And I didn't know how much AI was being used until this video broke it down for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. So I'm going to put the video, but I'm also going to do key summaries from it because I also was half asleep during this video. So I didn't actually see the full video, but I got what I needed. One, job descriptions are probably AI written. So that's why all your entry level jobs keep saying you need 2 to 3 years of experience. And you're like, but entry level is 0 to 2 years of experience. So why is entry level suddenly turned to 2 to 3 years of experience? Apply anyways. I don't care if you don't have 2 years experience, apply anyways. It's most likely AI writing it. And for some reason, AI has decided that 2 to 3 years of experience is entry level. If you don't meet all the requirements, send it in. If you're searching on LinkedIn, go to the top, filter, and put jobs posted in the last 24 hours. I used to always do like posted within the last week because that was what I was always told. Look for jobs that were posted within the past week, because typically you'll get a higher response rate and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But then when you're on LinkedIn and you're looking for jobs that were posted like within the week, LinkedIn luckily tells you how many people have applied for the job. And you'll see it'll already say over 100 applications, over 100 applications, over 100 applications. So with other job searching platforms, listen, most likely it's also over 100 applications. It is a lot of applications because I applied for a job on my school's website and the girl straight up told me over 300 people had applied for the job, like across the board. And so put past 24 hours, because when you are searching the filter by past 24 hours, typically you're finding jobs that were posted within the, like, obviously it's filtered by the past 24 hours, but a lot of the jobs that come up at the top are like jobs that were like, oh, posted an hour ago, posted 3 hours ago, posted 5 hours ago. And there's typically 0 to 10 applicants that have sent in a resume. And so being the first person who sent in a job description, who sent in a resume, is how I've been able to hear back from a lot of people. This is how I've been getting interviews back to back to back, because I went from like one interview every couple of months. I literally just had 2 interviews booked back to back. And so on top of, I had 2 interviews booked back to back, and I had 3 hiring managers reach out to me because one of them I didn't apply for. I wanted to understand the job more in depth, so I had reached out to him. All 3 people responded to me, and 2 of them had went ahead and set interviews. And that is simply because I changed it from jobs posted within the previous week. If I saw a job was up on a job board for 15 days, I used to do it. If it was 2 weeks or less on any job board, or like pushing 15 days, I used to just apply anyways. No. Most likely, you're probably person 349 applying. Look for things that were posted that day, or look for jobs that were posted on LinkedIn 24 hours or less. Search for that. You'll get more interviews, you'll get more callbacks, you'll get more responses. Being the first definitely does help. Or like being the first, because even that girl who had interviewed me when I had applied through my school's job board website, their career website, she even told me, she was like, typically if you're not like one of the first 30 applications, I typically don't even get the chance like come around and looking at your application. And I mean, for the people who do, like for the people who really do try their hardest to go through every single resume, every single application before they take that job posting down, and they have to because they keep getting an influx of resumes. So like, it's only up there for a limited amount of time. You really got to be quick. You really got to have notifications turned on for job boards and everything. But yeah, guys, it's crazy out here. So that's definitely one thing that's helped. And I'm going to link the video in the description because it really breaks down and really explains to you and gives you hope of like, don't worry, you're not freaking out. Jobs have gotten weird, bruh. So that's what's helped me. So I want to help y'all. Hopefully she's employed soon. Waiting to hear back. And I'm really excited. I really like this place and I'm really excited. But I'm going to tell y'all what I told my cousin. If I don't get hired, at first I was like, I'm going to cry, because when my first interview, like my first professional interview where I was so excited to get the job, when I didn't hear back, I did genuinely cry because I was like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I didn't interview good and blah, 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 blah. Sitting down, breathing, and being like, okay, but if you're in their shoes, you really do want to pick the best person out of every interview that you have. And if you just vibe with someone more, if someone just brings more to the table, then that's okay. Especially that was my first interview. So I didn't understand how to fully sell myself in a job interview. I have looked up so many videos. I had done so much training that I understood how to hold myself professionally in an interview. But going through TikTok and like, this is crazy. TikTok and YouTube has been the biggest help in my job searching. Because I mean, I even did a whole program where they taught you how to show up professionally. They taught you how to answer interview questions. And the thing is, you know, they're preparing you for questions like, give me a time when you were with the team and you, what is it? It's always questions like, give me a time when you were working with the team and had to handle a conflict between team members. And then they'll tell you like, use the STAR method. I forgot what it stands for. What is it? Damn, I forgot what it stands for. But it's like task, action, and resolution. I forgot what the S stands for. I know the TAR is task, action, and resolution. But things like that, you know, I've learned how to do methods like that. But then you get into interviews, especially if it's like for small businesses and stuff, or like people who are just, you know, they're just trying to understand who you are and what you do and what you can do. Sometimes they're not asking those questions. They're asking like, tell me about yourself. And then you have to sit there. And again, I was always told, sell yourself professionally. Tell me about yourself means tell me about who you are professionally. So I would sit there and say, you know, this is my name. This is a school that I went to. This is how I got interested in this career field. This is where I want to be in this career field. This is what I'm currently looking for. And, you know, this is what I can bring to the table. And I would use the same one for every job interview. Then I'm finding out on TikTok that a girl was like, no, don't do that. Tailor it for each job interview and tailor it to where you have that job description memorized and go into that interview and tell them about yourself in a way where you are highlighting every skill that was on that job description. Started doing that, started having better interviews. So instead of going in and be like, hi, this is my name, this is my school, this is how and like it being the same thing, if the job that I'm going for is a content creator who's really good at video editing, then I'm going in saying, this is my name. I am I'm not even adding, oh yeah, I graduated from this class with this degree and blah. No, this time I'm like, this is my name. I'm a podcast producer. I I taught myself how to podcast. I edit all my content. I really sat there. I'm a self-starter, self-motivated. I accomplish all my goals. I have learned to use this audio. I have learned to use this audio editor, this video editor, this video editor, this Photoshop tool. Like, I'm listing all the tools that I can use when it comes to editing now. But then if I go to one where they're like, we want someone who's a data analyst to like really monitor the analytics of our social media, then I'm going in and I'm going, hi, my name is Brianna, and I learned how to do SEO and KPIs through podcasting. I learned it because that's how I got my podcast to become well known. That is how I got this many downloads. That is how I got to work with these brands and really using these analytics, and I got to turn it into these brands and got to do this. So you really have to tailor it. So like, you're still telling them about yourself and telling them, your professional path that got you here, but instead focus on the skills for that particular job instead of having your elevator pitch memorized and tailored for memorized for every single job, so you already have it going. So that's one thing I've learned about interviews is you have to be prepared to change your answers on the spot, because you're going to need to change it for every single job. That has helped me have better interviews. That has been able to that is what has had me walk out of places like with a smile on my face. Because before, sometimes I was in interviews where I was like, I need this to end right now. And it would always feel so bad. I mean, I had an experience. I talked about it on a few podcast episodes ago. I literally had an experience where the guy was literally laughing in my face and was like, oh my God, you can't do anything. You couldn't do anything for me in this company. I would have to teach you. I don't even know why you thought you could be here. Like, literally, that was one of the worst interview experiences. And ever since then, I've been so scared to walk into a business and deal with the person like that, deal with the person who has such an inflated ego that they think it's professional to laugh at someone who's interviewing for your company. Because at the end of the day, he had my resume, he had all my skills, he had what I was able to do. Like, it was all there. And I'm not a person who can easily lie on my resume. Okay. Like, I know everyone says lie on your resume, but when it comes to lying on my resume, like the difference that I'm putting, yes, I can do Photoshop and graphic design because I do Canva. But if I see on the job description that they're also like, we want you to do Canva and Adobe, girl, I'm putting, I can do Adobe too, because you know who can do Adobe Photoshop? YouTube. And you know who knows how to use YouTube? Me. So I'm putting skills down that I know for sure, like, I don't have to create an elaborate story in the interview process, or I can back it up very easily with like true stories. It's just like whether that's lying by omission or kind of like highlighting different points to make you, what is it called? To kind of infer, to kind of, damn, what is that word? Is it infer? To kind of insinuate that I can do this skill. But I'm not going on there being like, oh my God, I was the manager at Toys R Us before they shut down. Sorry, you can't call the person because the company went bankrupt. No, I'm not that type of person. And so like, it was just like, bro, you called me here because you thought I could be good for a job. And now you're sitting here like laughing in my, that was the most unprofessional thing I think I've ever experienced. It was also like, I was slightly hurt in the sense of like, you wasted my time. You called me for an interview and you wasted my time by basically just sitting there and laughing and being like, oh my God, like, you've done nothing, you've done absolutely nothing. And I'm just sitting there like, this is an entry-level job. This is an entry level job. And in fact, I know this job was written by a person because it asked for 0 experience. And now you're laughing at me because I actually came in with 0 experience, but having experience with my podcast. What is bro? So you just got to be prepared, and you got to just be ready for anything when it comes to interviews. And I hope and pray that none of y'all have an interview like that, because dang, that suck. Okay. Heath and Mariah's wedding. All my favorite content creators are getting married. Let's get married. I've been singing that song because Alicia Marie posted on her Instagram story a video of Heath and Mariah. It had to be like the pre-party, pre-wedding, day before party for the wedding. And there's sparklers, everyone's holding sparklers, and like there's confetti falling and everything. And Alicia had put that song over the clip, and it's such a good song, and it had just fit the moment so right. So every once in a while I just keep going, let's get married. Like, it's so good. Oh my God. But yeah, watching Heath and Mariah's wedding weekend all through social media, I have never wanted to be at a wedding for someone I didn't know so badly. Like, I don't know these people in person. Up. I don't know these people. These people don't know my face. But am I subscribed to the Patreon, and do I comment on, like, actually I don't. I'm not a commenter. I'm more of a liker, and I keep pushing. I'm sorry. One thing you're not going to get me to do is comment on your stuff. I'm sorry, but I am not the person engaging with content unless I'm really pulled to do it. And typically that's one, with giveaways. Two, if something is just like so funny that I have to add my opinion. But like TikTok, I'm a commenter. YouTube videos, podcast videos, I'm not a commenter. I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. Like, you really have to be one of my favorite influencers for me to sit there and comment on every single thing. I might comment on one or two, but for the most part, I just like being a silent watcher. I like everything. I'm the person who goes down my Instagram feed and liking almost every damn video, every picture. Like, one thing I'm gonna do is like someone's stuff, and that is how I engage, is by giving you likes. But you're not going to see my name in the comments. In fact, I'm not even going to have the funniest comment. I'm not going to have the top comment. Every time I've commented, there's only been a few times where on TikTok, like, I have gone like, oh, my comment went viral and like my notifications were blowing up because of my comment. But for the most part, yeah, I'm a silent watcher. But anyways, I loved watching it. Loved watching the wedding weekend. It was so cool to see it from everyone's like perspective and angles, because some people had videos of things that like other people didn't have. So you got to see so many different parts of the wedding. And I was just like, oh my God. When I tell you I was sobbing so much, because I have been watching, let's see, I've been watching for so long, because I started off with the Vlog Squad. Yes, I was a girl who was watching the Vlog Squad. And you know the funny thing, and I'm not just trying to bring this up, but I do remember like watching David's videos back in the day, and there would be some stunts that he would pull, and I would be like, damn, one day I think this might backfire on him, because some of the things were kind of sketchy. And but I used to be tuned in for every vlog, because that was also a time period where like it was kind of normal for influencers to be doing outlandish things like that and kind of getting away with it, because they're bringing in a huge amount of cash flow. And so I was always aware of like, this might backfire on him one day, but I didn't know it would backfire to this extent, to where like he fully got canceled. People hated him. I mean, wow, but for good, the things that came out were pretty serious. And so like I can't even sit here, and I don't even want to put my opinion on it, but I did like the other members in the Vlog Squad more anyways, like Zayn and Heath, loving it. Oh, I used to love watching them F things up. Matt King, so funny, so smart, love him. So it was just natural that when they came out with the Zayn and Heath Unfiltered podcast, I've been watching since day one, and I haven't missed a single podcast episode from Zayn and Heath Unfiltered. That is the only podcast that I can truly say that about. Because Pretty Basic was the first podcast that I've ever listened to, and I was there from day one. But I started skipping episodes, things that I wasn't really interested in. Zayn and Heath Unfiltered, no, I've been tuned in since day one, and I haven't missed a single podcast episode. Same thing with Basically Unfiltered. Zayn and Heath with podcast mics, that is their true calling. What? And so because of that, like, I got to see when Matt King started coming on and being like, oh, yeah, I met a girl. I think she's really interesting. I kind of like her. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of going. And then it was like, oh, my God, yes, I have a girlfriend. And then it was like, okay, my girlfriend's name is Patricia. And then it was like, wow, yeah, Patricia. This is Patricia. Everyone meet Patricia. And then it was like, okay, so me and Patricia are engaged. And now me and Patricia are married. And so getting to see that entire thing play out just from their content was amazing. I don't exactly remember the videos of Heath getting with Mariah. I know I was a fan of them when it was happening, but I'm pretty sure that relationship started in the Vlog Squad. Because I remember him talking about the whole billboard moment when he went up and asked Mariah to be his girlfriend and whatnot. Like, I remember that. So I'm just like, I don't remember if I was specifically watching the videos of when he met Mariah. But I do remember when he had to leave the Vlog Squad and go back to Florida because like things just weren't good for him. His life was falling apart. Like, I don't know in what way. I don't know if it was financially. I don't know if it was mentally. I think it was a combination of both. But I remember him going back to Florida and having to move back in with his parents and then coming back to California as a different person. And then he met Mariah and then like everything just started to flow. Like, I remember all of that. So getting to see their wedding, it was so cute. And I just love how everyone is just like, the running joke is congratulations to Zayn. Like, just because, Zayn and Heath have been best friends forever and they're always like right up underneath each other. And so everyone's always like congratulating Zayn because like tee like Heath's getting married. So like congratulations to Zayn. Like you also have a second best friend, whatever. I love it. I love all the jokes where everyone's just like congratulating Zayn. It's so funny. Because everyone's like, Zayn, you're also getting married. Like, it's so funny. But yeah. Anyways, I'm going to end this podcast off with talking about the book that I just finished, which is Red, White, and Royal Blue. And let me just say this. If you like romance, if you like smut, and if you like gay romance, this is the book for you. And now I know I'm talking about a book that is very popular. I think it already has like over 1 million reviews on Goodreads. And that alone lets you know how big it is. Like, in fact, there's a full Netflix movie about it, which I'm scared to watch the movie because I heard that one of my favorite characters from the book is actually not in the movie. Like, they completely cut the girl out. Like, that character does not exist. But I'm kind of curious. This will be the first thing where I read the book, enjoyed the book, and then I'm going to go watch the movie. So I think I'm about to experience my first disappointment of the book was better. And I think I really want to do that to myself. I might do it tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, no. I promised someone that I'll call them tonight. So it probably can't happen tonight. What the hell? Let's get married. Let's get married. What is this number? I'm sorry. I just got a random number saying we need to grab brunch. And I'm so confused. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm just going to put that down. Anyway, so back to oh, no, I just went silent. I went nonverbal in the podcast. I hate when I do that because then I'm like listening so intensely when I'm editing because I'm like, there's a spot where I'm nonverbal. There's a spot when I'm nonverbal. But typically for the most part, because I'm listening to myself as I talk, I mentally take notes of what I'm going to cut, what's going to stay in. And most of the time I've gotten really good at like nothing's going in. So I get to like half-heartedly listen just to make sure there's nothing too crazy. But damn, when there's like big portions where I have to cut out, I'm like, oh my God, no, I have to listen so intensely because I need to wait until I hear it happen. But anyways, that's besides the point. Red, White, and Royal Blue. Loved it. Sobbed. Full on sobbed. And I really think I needed a book like that because it gave me hope. It gave me reading it right now and the way American democracy is looking, how everyone's talking about like Hey guys, are we just like watching a hostile takeover of the American government from the Republican Party? Yeah, kind of. And it's like so much of me wants to sit here and say, okay, what's the most likely answer? And truly, the most likely answer is not worst case scenario. And I want to sit here and be like, oh my God, so much of this is fear mongering. So much of this is fear mongering. But man, oh man, oh man, is there some weird things happening in the American government where, like, I don't think anyone can explain. And the closest thing that we have to it really is watching the rise of Hitler. And so it's just so scary to see those two comparisons happening and seeing how close they are to each other. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And so I've just been turning off the TV, not paying attention, reading. I'm more keeping up with the news within newsletters or very short podcast episodes or watching some of my favorite creators talk about it. But I can no longer be glued to the news and TikTok clips from news channels and tweets from news channels. I used to like be surrounded by the news, but it is just so heartbreaking, especially because there's not something that I can actively do right now. I do know what my active duty is going to be, and that's going to be living in the state of Texas. 2026, you best believe I'm voting in the midterms. Vote in the midterms. It is easier to overturn a midterm than it is to overturn a national election. Go to the midterms, vote locally. It's easier to overturn things locally. So register to vote if you're not registered to vote. The midterms for Texas is in 2026. I don't know enough about politics. I don't know if this is going to sound stupid, but is the midterms in 2026 just like it is for everyone else? I don't know. I'm assuming it has to fall in line with the presidential election, but I know here in Texas we're having a midterm in 2026. So go out, get registered to vote. You have time. We have a whole year. Go out and vote. Even if you feel like your vote isn't important, you're not a politics person, just don't feel too powerless, because I know even people who had approved of the current president, who voted for him, who wanted him to win, I know a lot of y'all are also like, what the hell? Because the few people in my life who were like excited to see him up there, even they're kind of like, boy, what the hell is this? I'm not gonna lie, it makes me giggle because I was not rooting for this one. I was not rooting for this one. I was indeed rooting for the black woman, Kamala, Mamala, if you will. But that's none of my business. But back to this book, it gave me hope. It really gave me hope, especially with the way American democracy is. Getting to read a book like this that was filled with so much hope, focused on American democracy, especially someone who lives in Houston, Texas. And a lot of this book, the main character is from Texas. And so he's talking about Austin and Houston a lot. And it was just, oh my God. Like they even do a callback to the Texas yellow rose. The Texas rose, bro. Like, so if you don't, I actually don't know what the symbol means, but in Texas, like, there's the yellow rose symbol. You see it everywhere. It's a very Texas thing. It's a very Texas symbol. But a yellow rose, the Texas yellow rose. And so there's a moment where one of the characters is like, oh, yeah, I have yellow roses on my clothes because, like, the Texas rose, duh. And it's just such a pivotal moment in the book for the plot line of the way the election is going. And it just made me sob because I sat there, one, and was sobbing for the love story and sobbing for the way that it turned out. But two, I was also sobbing because it made me realize there is more people out there who have hope for a progressive world. You know, not everyone is sitting here trying to go back to the olden days where you can happily say slurs to certain races, where you could happily say, um, where you could just use slurs for anyone, whether that was because of their mental status, their race, or their sexuality. There's a lot of people who don't want that, who don't want to see women's rights taken away. To see how many people are like no, we still need to have some form of progressive thinking. And we're not trying to go back to where like the only people who had power in this world were rich white men who owned land. It was just nice because, especially with the way this election has gone, with the way American democracy is going, it kind of feels that way sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I mean, God. I mean, the amount of people who are just actively very happy to say, like, I'm a Nazi. And it's like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, what the hell is happening? But it was very nice. So it made me cry because it made me realize not all hope is lost. They want you to feel like all hope is lost because if you have already decided that you have lost, then they have won. But if you decide to get up to fight and fight together, and there's more people that have this ideology of like, we will live in a progressive time, we will have a progressive nation, then we will be okay and we will move forward. And there's going to be a lot of people who are willing to fight more than you think. And so it made me cry. And I was like hysterically sobbing, especially because like I was listening to the audiobook as I was finishing up the audiobook as I was driving to my cousin's house because I had to take him to the airport. And so I'm on 45 in Houston, which if you don't know, 45 is our main freeway and the speed limit is 65. But if you do 65, you're gonna have some very aggressive, vulgar gestures made towards you. You might get flashed a gun because it's also Texas. Like it might be Houston, which is a blue city, but it's also Texas, which is a red state. So like people might just like flash a gun and threaten you, you know. You'll get a lot of aggressive people. I mean, even the cops are going to drive past. You might get pulled over if you're going too slow. All this to say, I have multiple occasions have I been doing 80 on 45 and a cop, constable, and sheriff have driven around me because I was going too slow. And I had slowed down because I saw them coming up behind me and they straight up were like, girl, pick it up. You're ruining the flow of traffic. Okay. So I need you to understand this is a freeway where you're doing 80 minimum. All right. And I'm going faster than that because I don't want my cousin to miss his flight. Already, the place where he had to pick up his suit for the wedding wasn't opening at 10 o'clock like they promised. Suddenly, it was 10:30. Flight takes off at 1 p.m. Airport's an hour away. I just left my house at 10:30. Bruh, we are not doing so well. So I'm zooming and sobbing. Zooming. Oh my God. Like, bruh. It was a sight to be seen, but no one saw the sight because I was going too damn fast for people to realize, hey, that is a young woman crying in the driver's seat of her Toyota Corolla. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, it is. So my book recommendation for this week is Red, White, and Royal Blue. If you haven't picked it up already, wow, what a phenomenal book. If you have seen the movie already, I fully apologize, but yeah, I heard that like it's just not the same. The book is always better. So I pulled a tab out of my TBR jar to pick my next read because I really wasn't sure what it was, and I pulled out a self-help. Oh my God, I do it to myself. I do have self-help books, but they're not my favorite. I prefer fictional books. And so the one that I pulled out was self-help. And so I literally sat there and went, no. And I'm like, I do it to myself. I have my own self-help books. I wrote self-help on a piece of paper, folded it, put it in my TBR jar. And now I'm upset because I pulled out the self-help. Like, girl, BFFR. So I pulled out a self-help option out of my TBR jar. And so the one that I picked up is The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. And I don't think this book falls under self-help, but I consider it under self-help. Okay, so the only like self-help books that I have is No, I think that also falls under the business. Okay, so Think Again by Adam Grant, I think is the only self-help book that I truly have, like true self-help book. But I know Tipping Point, Millionaire Next Door, and Outliers are all considered business books. Like they're in the business section every time I go book shopping. But I picked it up. And because it's supposed to help you change the way you think about business and give you ideas on business and money, which I do enjoy books like that. I really do. I know. I keep recommending y'all The Money Show with Katie and The Financial Diet. Like, come on now. You got to know who I am by now. And so because I enjoy learning about business and money and ideas and stuff like that, to me, The Tipping Point is a self-help book because this one is all about how little things can make a big difference and like how one idea can burst into like the size of a forest fire and just really spread around the globe. And I'm a podcaster. Like, I'm doing nothing but spreading ideas. Okay. I'm dropping ideas everywhere. Like, this is kind of getting out of hand, bruh. But so that is why I consider this self-help, but I think it's actually categorized as a business book. But that's my next read. I'll let y'all know how it goes because I read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. It was a book that I just kind of picked up in I almost called it Half Below. What is the name of that store? Half Price Books. And I enjoyed it so much that's why I picked up Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. I really enjoy Malcolm Gladwell and his ideas. I listened to a podcast episode by him. I have listened to a few of his podcast interviews where he's like talking to people. And so I like his ideas. I like the way he thinks. So I think I'll enjoy The Tipping Point. But we shall see. Anyways, that's it. Please like and review this podcast. Please subscribe or follow this podcast episode, depending on where you're listening to your podcast episodes. I don't know what they're typically called. I know on Spotify, it's called Capture. Not Spotify, girl, Pandora. On Spotify, you follow it. On Pandora, you capture. On YouTube, you subscribe. So wherever you're listening to this, go ahead and keep up with this podcast. Turn those notifications on. I mean, don't you want to listen to my gorgeous voice every time I put out a podcast episode? And typically when I'm not sad and depressed and like not sitting here making excuses to not podcast, but in reality, I just really needed a break from life. Not just from my podcast. I need a break from life. Truly, if I could shut a switch off and like not be alive for like 3 days and come back and be like, woo, I'm refreshed, I would have. Not finna lie to you guys. But follow me on social media. All my socials are in the show notes. Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. I deleted my Twitter. TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I don't post videos anymore. I mean, every once in a while I might pop up, but like I'm really there to like a kiki and scroll through and laugh with y'all and comment. So you can interact with me on TikTok, but you're not going to be there for watching content. TikTok is for interacting. It's for watching funny videos and laughing with each other. Instagram, posting more. Threads, post all the time. So yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything else. Anyways, ta-ta for now. Show's over. Bye. This is going to be really funny if I change the title of the podcast episode later, but I feel like I need to justify my podcast episode because I think I want to title it Anxiety, because that Doechii trend is going popular where everyone's like copying the dance from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it's like that moment where like Will Smith walks in and it's like do 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 do, and they start dancing and then they turn around and you're like, ooh, hello. I did not explain that correctly, but like, yeah, anxiety. No, you know who did have anxiety attacks in the book? Red, White, and Royal Blue. Alex did. If you made it this far, oh my gosh, what would I have y'all comment? Just comment panic attack. If you made it this far, comment panic attack. I want to know who the outro people are. Hey, bend over to the front, touch your toes, put that ass in the air and get low, get low. Yeah, I can cuss in the outro because probably nobody listened out here. Oh, I'm sorry. I will never do that again.